Coronavirus disease is now spreading within counties in Kenya, from person to person through contact with droplets when an uninfected person speaks, coughs or sneezes, or through touching contaminated surfaces and objects. Anybody with a weakened body immunity has a greater risk of contracting coronavirus disease. People living with pre-existing medical conditions such as HIV, cancer, TB, diabetes, among others, must adhere to their treatment to strengthen immunity, and therefore should ensure they have a constant supply of necessary medicines. Contact your clinic or health facility for information on how to access treatment. Help others within your network to access adequate supply of essential medicines. Ensure that you remain connected with your local networks for any support, and follow the medical guidelines provided by your health facility to prevent coronavirus. Remember to stay updated with information on coronavirus using only trusted reliable channels. For more information on COVID-19, call 719 or dial *719#. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Good evening. This is Channel 1 News Hour. I trust you've had a lovely day so far. Well, we have so much in store for you. For now, we take a look at the highlights.
Stopped in its tracks. High Court bars JSC from next week's recruitment of Supreme Court Judge as Justice William Oko is interviewed for the Chief Justice position.
That there will be a delay as far as the deliveries are concerned. India is a huge place, and the demand is high for the vaccines.
Alarm of a looming AstraZeneca vaccine shortage, with government now turning to Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. And a review among candidates who wrote the just-ended 2020 KCSE examination. Well, you will know your grade within the next 20 days.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. My name is Jacky Wambiru. You can interact with us on our Twitter handle at KBC Channel 1 or at Jacky Wambiru. Now, to kick us off, the High Court has issued orders stopping Judicial Service Commission from conducting the interviews of Judge of Supreme Court that were scheduled to begin next week. High Court judges Anthony Mrema, Ruben Nyakundi and Wilfrida Okwani, however, allowed the ongoing interviews for the position of Chief Justice to proceed, but stopped JSA from making considerations in respect to that position once the interviews are over on Friday. Now, Kevin Oshira has the details.
A three-judge bench at the High Court has stopped the Judicial Service Commission from conducting interviews of Judge of the Supreme Court pending hearing of petitions filed by Tolfina Fula, Philip Mushiri, Damaris Wakioro, and Member Ocharo. 9 candidates were scheduled to appear before the JSC starting next week to defend their suitability to be Supreme Court Judge. Justices Anthony Mrema, Ruben Nyakundi, and Wilfrida Okwani, however, allowed the interviews for the position of Chief Justice to proceed, but stopped the JSC from making any further considerations in respect to that position once the interviews are over on Friday. As at now, there are 3 petitions challenging ongoing process of recruitment of Chief Justice. The 3 judges considered the submissions of the petitioners and found that they raise weighty issues, including the constitutionality of the process. The petitions were filed separately but were consolidated Wednesday. The JSC wanted the court to stay its decision pending an appeal, but the judges ruled the orders of the court shall remain in force pending determination of the cases filed by the petitioners. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Emerging issues courtesy of COVID-19, the Ministry of Health is warning of a possible shortage of the AstraZeneca vaccine in the country. The ministry is citing the constraints being faced by the Serum Institute of India, which is now producing the jab for the host country badly ravaged by the 3rd wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the government is now focusing on acquiring the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines to curb the current shortage that might see those who receive the first jab wait longer.
Those who receive the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine will have now to wait longer for the second jab. The Ministry of Health warning of delays in acquiring additional doses, a move being attributed to the state of the virus in India that hosts the Serum Institute, the major manufacturer of the vaccine. The ministry says it has already received notification from the manufacturer signaling delays as the Asian country battles the worst resurgence of the virus.
We think that there will be a delay as far as the deliveries are concerned. India is a huge place, and the demand is high for the vaccines.
According to the CS, all hopes are not lost as the waiting period for the next dose is about 3 months.
For instance, if we have 1.2 million doses in Kenya, what is better? Is it better to vaccinate half and then hold the rest for the second dose for the other ones? And the answer is no. The answer is that the more people you vaccinate, even with 1 dose, the better, because they do get some level of immunity.
Currently, the country has administered 750,000 doses of the vaccine from the 1.2 million doses it received. To arrest this shortage, the government is now looking to acquire the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines to bridge the shortage.
Once we have concluded our deal, we expect to get at least 1 million doses per month from Pfizer, maybe another 1 million from Johnson & Johnson. That combined with what we can get from the COVAX facility, as in AstraZeneca, should be able to allow us to continue with the vaccination process.
Meanwhile, the CS has urged county governments to take up county-specific measures to curb the spread of COVID-19 following a shift in infections to the devolved units outside the red zones.
Every county emergency response committee to get together and take measures, county-specific measures, so that we don't then have a drop in Nairobi and the environment and environs to then start another whole process up country.
Kagwe calling on Kenyans not to lower their guard despite the COVID-19 positivity rate having been on a downward trajectory in recent days.
Wale wanasema fungueni, alafu wanashikwa na virusi, ndio wenyewe pia wataanza kusema serikali haishungi watu wake.
The CS spoke while receiving donations of personal protective equipment from MultiChoice Kenya to aid in the war against COVID-19.
We will be donating to you and the Kenya government personal protective equipment constituting a total of 12,000 K95 face masks. We'll also be contributing and donating 2,000 disposable isolation gowns, all of which are valued at 2.3 million this morning.
Despite the COVID-19 positivity rate having dropped slightly in recent days, the Ministry of Health is cautioning Kenyans against laxity, saying the measures in place will only be relaxed if the rate meets the WHO requirements. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Still on COVID-19, the Council of Governors now attributes the decrease of the COVID-19 positivity rate recently reported in the country days to the lacking of testing kits. COG Chair for the Health Committee, Professor Anyang Nyong'o, at the same time said that the devolved units are cash-strapped and unable to fight the pandemic effectively. The Council is calling on the National Treasury to release 83 billion shillings it owes county governments to assist in the fight against the pandemic.
With the rate of COVID-19 infections in the country apparently on the downward trajectory, the Council of Governors says the trend is due to the shortage of testing kits in the country. According to the Council's chair for the Health Committee, Professor Anyang Nyong'o, the devolved units are experiencing a shortage of testing equipment, which is said could prove costly in the fight against the deadly virus.
This therefore means that county governments have no control over the increasing number of infections. We therefore urge the Ministry of Health to avail rapid testing kits, antigens, and PCR COVID-19 testing equipment to all counties to stem the spread of the virus.
At the same time, the Kisumu governor implored the National Treasury to release the 83 billion shillings that it owes the 47 county governments to strengthen their capacity in containing the spread of the virus.
This poses a major challenge as the virus is spreading rapidly and could overstretch the county health facilities both in the private and public sectors.
Nyong'o said the financial strain barred the devolved units from assembling the resources necessary in public hospitals, including the much critical ICU and HDU facilities.
Although the figures are rising for needing beds in isolation centers as well as ICU in isolation centers themselves, there is still availability of beds in those isolation centers. But that is no reason for comfort.
Wycliffe Okech reporting for Channel 1 News from Kisumu County.
In other news, the county government of Kiambu and Murang'a have denied Auditor General reports of misappropriating millions of shillings meant to fight COVID-19 pandemic. While appearing before the Senate Health Committee, the two counties denied claims of double payment as well as awarding tenders to bidders who supplied non-pharmaceutical items contrary to the Public Provisions Act. The two counties now have 7 days to provide counter evidence before the committee retreats to write its final report.
The Senate Health Committee on Wednesday put on spot the county government of Kiambu and Murang'a to explain claims of misappropriations of millions of shillings meant to fight COVID-19 in counties. The two were grilled on overpayment of medical allowances, failure to value and disclose donations in the books of accounts, as well as awarding tenders to non-pre-qualified bidders who supplied pharmaceutical items. The county government of Murang'a also denied opening of an irregular COVID-19 funds account without approval by the county assembly.
Was duly opened with the authority of Treasury, and the authority letters and documents are already there, which were done, I think in April 15th of April last year. So it was an account which was duly opened through the authority of Treasury as defined by PFM Act.
And without a green light by the county treasury. In their defense, the county's alleged money in overpaid contracts have since been recovered.
The auditors have clearly indicated that there was no evidence that you, the county government of Murang'a, prepared any work plans for utilization of COVID-19 funds. Now, you are telling us the plans are there. Where are these plans? And how come the audit team did not get to see these plans? Where are the plans? Don't give us a long story. Just tell us, here are the plans. You've indicated to us that you have minutes. Where are those minutes?
Did they get an authority from the county treasury to open up these two accounts that have been mentioned here? And if so, where is the evidence? I think that's the crux of the matter, Chair.
With the committee directing that evidence be provided before it retreats to write its final report. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mongai.
And on matters Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha is promising to release the 2020 KCSE results before the 10th of May. Professor Magoha, who was at the Nairobi school to oversee the conclusion of the exam, say the outcome will be known before schools resume for the first-term learning as per the new education calendar.
The exam that began on the 26th of March concluded Tuesday with less cases of irregularities. The last batch of the 751,891 candidates set the arts and design paper, with marking expected to begin immediately. Education CS George Magoha saying results for the examination will be released before May 10th.
It's being done in 34 centers. Let those who are talking a lot of rubbish out there continue to do so. For us, we are focused and we want to be sure that the teachers are protected as they mark, and we shall, I think, perhaps complete before that target.
During the almost 1-month exercise, 27 exam managers and 37 civilians were arrested for trying to aid cheating, with 53 mobile phones confiscated in the hands of candidates.
And then the people keep asking, how are we so confident to go and arrest people? It is because we confirm without fear of contradiction. Unfortunately, we cannot go to court and tell you, this is how we have caught you. Because these are systems we are going to continue to use. You don't tell a thief how to steal better.
In the meantime, the Form 1 selection process is set to be launched soon, with Professor Magoha warning those he claims are colluding to deny poor students slots in top-ranking schools in the country.
We want a system that will pick the best brains from Kiandutu slums in Thika and take them to Alliance Girls High School. They don't need to, and they don't have to have come from a private school or from Professor Magoha's family. That will not be allowed to happen. So I want the people to get us very clear that being poor does not mean God did not give you a good brain.
The government, according to the CS, has contracted Equity Group Foundation to identify needy students who will qualify for the 18,000 scholarships being offered.
I would want to encourage even those children who think that they are hopeless. There is no hopeless child. And for us as a government, every child is the same.
A ruling in favor of the late former President Daniel Arap Moi Wednesday confronted the Court of Appeal President William Oko as he sought to be Kenya's next Chief Justice. Justice Oko defended the decision, saying the aggrieved party had sued the former president in his personal capacity, yet the action was an act of the state and the Attorney General was supposed to have been involved. Let's take a look.
With about 34 years under his belt, Justice William Oko started his legal practice in 1987, will put his best foot forward on Wednesday during the Chief Justice's interview. Justice Oko has 17 years of administration in the judiciary under his sleeves, termed the failure to appoint the 40 judges, while 11 who were to join the appellate court, as a crisis.
Satisfaction amongst the public, but what is holding you back is those 11 judges, isn't it?
Yes, very true. My court has actually felt the brunt of this. If you graciously give me the opportunity, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to the commission. This is where it all started. to retrace our steps to find out where the rain started beating us.
The panel, however, took issues with two owners received in 2 consecutive years, having chaired the body that was the same owners.
The idea is that you got the Elder of the Burning Spear, EBS, in 2019, and also got the higher one, which is the Order of the Chief of the Burning Spear, much as you may be deserving your honor. Was this due to your membership of that committee, or how did that happen?
Why I ended up with the two. One, because it was realized that the honor that had been given earlier was lower than the level a judge ought to be given.
Justice Oko had to defend the decision the Court of Appeal took in favor of the late former President Daniel Arap Moi, filed by one Mwangi Mureithi, who had claimed to have been detained and dispossessed in 1982, despite the late former head of state not filing any response.
Counsel for the former president, now deceased. And the Court of Appeal now went ahead, notwithstanding that there was no evidence to controvert what Mwangi Mureithi was saying. The Court of Appeal still went ahead and set aside, that judgment, and they filed in favor of the president, who had never filed any evidence, no affidavit, in as much as, of course, there was no viva voce evidence and all that.
But I know you were wondering why, in that case, why was the AG not sued? In the law, the president at the time, I do not think, if I recall well, had personal powers to do what he was being accused of doing. There was, I think, a committee that would do this, some security committee.
Also confronting the judge was the murder judgment of Murwa Atetu.
The first is, I think, paragraph 48, which I think people have misread. Paragraph 48 of that decision, the court says that you cannot take away discretionary powers of a court in sentencing by an act of parliament. So what I'll do, if you allow me to be the Chief Justice, because the Supreme Court did not finish its work. It gave an interdict. Have a mention and hear what the Honorable the AG has to say with regard to the assignment that he was given, now nearly 3 years, and you make a decision from there.
On Thursday, Professor Moni Wekesa will face the panel. For Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robe.
Away from the search of the next CJ, Kenya and DR Congo have signed 4 framework cooperation agreements covering several economic sectors, security and defense, as well as maritime transport. Among the 4 pacts signed on the second day of President Uhuru Kenyatta's 3-day state visit of DR Congo include an agreement which provides a framework for joint promotion of economic, technical, scientific and socio-cultural programs.
The economic sectors targeted by the broad framework are agriculture, education, health, sports and tourism. Others are environment, SMEs, housing, energy and infrastructure development. Also signed were 2 separate bilateral agreements on security and defense, which provide mechanisms for cooperation between Kenya and DR Congo in areas such as counter-terrorism, immigration, cybersecurity and customs and border control. The revitalized agreement on maritime freight is aimed at repositioning the port of Mombasa as DR Congo's main EXIM gateway by streamlining the handling of the country's transit cargo. In a joint press address with his Congolese host, President Kenyatta said the new pact signifies the strengthening bilateral ties between the 2 sister nations.
Today we have witnessed the signing of a number of agreements between our 2 countries, both on general cooperation, memorandums of understanding on security, as well as an agreement on defense cooperation, which I believe will further deepen the partnership between our 2 countries.
To accelerate cooperation in the identified sectors, President Kenyatta announced Kenya's plans to expand its diplomatic footprints in DR Congo by setting up outposts in Goma and Lubumbashi.
To further deepen the already good relationship between our two countries, Kenya is committed to establishing a consulate in Goma as well as an honorary consulate in Lubumbashi in order to continue to foster the relationship between our two countries.
The head of state called for the harmonization visa regimes between Kenya and DR Congo, saying the intervention will help ease the movement of people, goods and services in the region.
And I believe as we move to further deeper integration, not only of our two countries, but of our region and our continent, we should do more to ease the restrictions that we have in terms of visas and other issues. And I look forward to engaging with you so that we can make it easier for our people to move and to trade with each other without the limitation of stringent visa requirements.
On regional matters, President Kenyatta welcomed DR Congo's application to join the East African community, saying its admission will help accelerate regional integration and progress. On his part, President Felix Tshisekedi thanked his visiting counterpart for the continued support DR Congo continues to receive from Kenya, especially in trade facilitation. He said the visit by President Kenyatta had presented an opportunity for Kenya and DR Congo to renew their bilateral relations and outline security, regional connectivity, and fight against corruption and economic crimes as the priority areas. On connectivity, the Congolese leaders said his country will work with Kenya on creating a seamless transport corridor from the port of Mombasa through Uganda into DR Congo.
Traffic was disrupted along the Kisumu-Kakamega Road for a better part of Wednesday after a tanker carrying molasses collided with a Guardian bus and a saloon car at Kanyakwar area. Now, according to the bus driver, Paulo Nyeso, who sustained minor injuries, he was heading to Vihiga to pick secondary students who had just finished their KCSE national examination and were due to travel to Nairobi when the incident happened. Both the tanker driver and the saloon car driver were rushed to a private hospital in critical condition.
This is the scene of Wednesday morning multiple road accident that involved 3 vehicles, a molasses tanker, a PSV bus and a saloon car. According to witnesses, the truck carrying molasses was heading in the opposite direction when it veered off the road and hit the bus on the side. Both vehicles rolled and blocked both sides of the one-way traffic road. Both the tanker and the saloon car drivers sustained serious injuries and were rushed to a private hospital, while the bus driver sustained minor injuries and was treated and discharged. The residents who thronged the site could be seen scooping molasses that had spilled on the road. Armed with jerrycans and other containers, the residents made away with unknown liters of the commodity. Kisumu firefighters had to clean the road before it could be reopened for use. In another incident, business came to a standstill in Voi town after a cargo train collided with a Wells Fargo courier bus Wednesday morning.
Gonga hiyo basi ya Wells Fargo ambayo ni ya kubeba mizigo ambayo iko saidi ingine kwa upande mwingine ya hii train ikaibeba ikaisuguma ikaipeleka kando, na due to the impact train yenyewe na ikaderail from the main rail, ikaruka ikafunja the rail line yenyewe, ikaifunja na ikatoka juu ya rail na ikaanguka upande ile mwingine.
According to the eyewitnesses, the train hooted several times as it approached the railway crossroad, but the bus driver allegedly defied the alert.
Hii ni makosa ambaye imefanywa na mtu ambaye hakuwa makini, na vile nimesema ni huyu mwenye bus, because yeye mwenyewe ili gala moshi likifika hapa huo inapiga on kubwa sana, ndio wale wengine ambao wanatumia hii barabara wabeane njia.
Transport to and from Voi town was interrupted, forcing locals to trek to and from the town. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Channel 1 News.
Well, and on that note, we'll take a short break. But before we take that break, let's take a look at the comments coming in from our Facebook comment section, whereby Gloria Muthoka, you say you're watching from Machakos. Boge Sky, you are watching from Kibra. Alois Miyogo, you're watching from Kisii. Caroline Omar, you're watching from Kakamega. Well, those are some of the comments coming in. Well, thank you for keeping us company here on Channel 1 News Hour. Well, let's take that break. We'll be back soon enough.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye Quickbit ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitazama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353. Alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka kwenye Quickbit ni bila bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Siri za maisha. Siri ya kwanza ya maisha ni kujifunza kusamehe. Ya pili ni kujituma. Ya tatu ni kujifunza. Ya nne kukubali mabadiliko. Ya tano kuweka akiba. 6 kutokufa moyo, na 7 kumtendea mwenzako jinsi ungependa akutendee wewe.
Ili kupata skiza tune ya siri za maisha, bonyeza *811 *397#. Bonyeza *811 *397#.
Next on.
Matumizi mabaya ya ofisi, hasa zaidi ofisi za umma.
Na vile vitu vya mtoto vile vya akijisaidia vile pampers vile. Mchukulie. Yera soko isijui kwa wapi. Leo mtoko jata nikia marikiti kwa wapi. Hizi jina marikiti kwa wapi. Na leo jaipitia.
Anawacha kazi ya kupeleka file, anatumwa supermarket.
What is this? Hii kitu inaharibu jina ya kampuni. This is what we call design. Kwa takataka kwa hapo. Yote ndani tunaelewa kwa ndio kwa ngone kwa ngara kabisa. Sasa boss sikangu ni tarakilishi.
Wanaungwana kweli.
On the next episode.
Juhudi za Rais Uhuru Kenyatta za kujenga vituo maalum vya mpakani zimesaidia Kenya kupata mapato zaidi na kubuni nafasi za kazi kwa Wakenya. Wiki hii kwenye project 254,
kabla one stop border post ije, ulikuwa unapata tunachukua muda mrefu sana kufanyiwa verification ya makaratasi yetu.
Kuwa na hii border post hapa, kuna vile inatusaidia wateja, kuna vile movement ya wateja iko, na unakuja unapata biashara, tunaweza tukauza.
SPT imesaidia sana kwa sababu kitambo ilikuwa inachukua muda mtu apitishe, mtu ana kari.
Welcome back. Police in Baringo County have arrested 3 suspects who are believed to be money launderers. The police were acting on a tip-off from area residents who reported the suspicious moves by the 3 suspects who were nabbed making purchases using fake money. Authorities are now cautioning residents to be on high alert following the reports of fake money circulating in the region.
It was a narrow escape for these 3 suspects who faced the wrath of an angry mob after they were allegedly found making purchases using fake money in Kituro area of Baringo Central.
Nilimwona huyu mrembo alikuja kama anatembea kwa miguu. Akaingia kwa duka, akanunua kiatu. Kutoka achana naye, kufika kwa center hapa, nikakaa kidogo. Yule mrembo pia akafika akaingia kwa duka, akanunua tena kiatu kingine. Hapo nikaanza kuwa na waziwazi.
According to the residents, the three were on a shopping spree in various shops along Marigat Kabarnet Road before they were nabbed, only to be found in possession of fake money worth 40,000 shillings and other assorted items.
Tukakutana na village elders na watu wote wa Kituro wakaweza kutusaidia, tukashika watu, tukanasa. Walikuwa na pesa taslim, manoti ya pandia zaidi ya 40,000 hivi.
Authorities believe that the suspects, who are said to have traveled from Eldoret to Lake Baringo, must have been on a mission to exchange the fake money through random purchases and mobile money transactions, and are urging residents to be on high alert.
Wakati tuliwauliza walikuwa ngumu sana watuambie, so tukajaribu kuwapembeleza kuinterrogate, mpaka sasa wakasema walilala Lake Baringo. So walianza huko asubuhi kuja wakinunua, wakibadilisha, wakiweka kwa simu, wakishauza wanaweka kwa M-Pesa. Hiyo pesa imekuwa mingi sana, wameuza kwa maduka, kwa maana wanapeana wakipewa change, wanaingia M-Pesa, wana deposit kidogo, wana deposit 200, wanapewa 800.
Walikuwa wananunua hizo vitu, wananunua vitu kidogo kidogo, wakipeana shilingi 1,000 wakitaka change. Kwa hiyo tulijua hawa watu ni watapeli, na wametapeli watu kuanzia Marikat, wakifika kwa Riema mpaka Sesha. Kufika Kituro hapa sisi tukasema hatuwezi kubali kitendo kama hivyo itendeke, sisi tukiwa watu wa serikali na nyumba 10.
The three were taken to Kabarnet police station as investigation begins, even as calls for the arrest of the masterminds of the money laundering syndicate continue to reverberate. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
From that, a 33-year-old woman from Rubera village in Ngaro division of Laikipia County is seeking justice after she was allegedly assaulted by her husband. Pauline Wambiru, a mother of 7, claims this was not the first time she had been assaulted by her estranged husband, who works as a casual laborer in the local potato farms. More of this in our county roundup.
Police in Ngarwa division of Laikipia County are pursuing a man believed to have gone into hiding after brutally assaulting his wife. Joseph Gishani, aged 37 years, has been accused by his wife, Pauline Wambaine, a 33-year-old and a mother of 7, of repeatedly assaulting and causing her body harm.
Amezoea kila wakati tukikosana, anachukua hata mapaga ananikatakata. Ikuwa tarehe 26 mwezi wa 3 alichukua kisu akanidugaduga mkono.
The woman has since sought refuge in a Good Samaritan's house within Kinamba Trading Center as she fathomed on her next move.
Sahi tunaomba serikali ishukue hati ya kari kwa huyu mzee, ndio akuwe funzo kwa wengine.
Still in Laikipia, residents from Rubere, Kieni and Kriaini villages in Githiga ward now want the government to relocate marauding elephants that have been terrorizing them in the recent past, leaving behind a trail of destruction and deaths. The residents have said that this could serve as one of the best solutions to deal with the rising cases of human-wildlife conflict.
Tulikuwa tumepanda mimea midogo midogo tukidhani kwamba itatusaidia. Sasa sijui tutaenda wapi, kwa sababu wanyama wa serikali ndio wenye wametuhangaisha sana hapa.
Tunafamiwa na pokoti, tunafamiwa na madofu. Sisi karibu kuisha.
In Kitui, a middle-aged man who alleged raped 2 minors and poisoned them, leaving 1 dead, has been arrested. Munyoki Kiangai was arrested while he tried to take his own life around his home area today.
Sasa leo asubuhi ndio tumeenda huko tukamkuta mahali alikuwa amejificha, na hata kwa shingo yake ameumia. Akasema ya kwamba alikuwa amejiweka kamba ili akufe, na akakosa kufa akanjikata.
Ikasemekana ni ango yake. Na yule ango yake ambao yeye ndio ambao tukifuatilia kwa umbali yeye ni ango ya huyo msichana pia.
Elsewhere, a matatu tout has been injured following an altercation with a group of street boys at Eldoret main stage. The dispute, which began when an unknown passenger dropped 300 shillings which was spotted by the street boys, eliciting a bitter exchange. Residents are now calling for the county government to take swift action to clear out the street boys from the town.
Tunaona machokora wanaumiza raia in Wazingishu County. Tunataka tuulize Mandagoa, hii watu tuwafagie, mtuachie nafasi tufagie hawa ama wewe utatusaidia kufagia hawa.
Finally, Jubilee Party members of the Laikipia County Assembly have ejected long-serving Majority Leader Peter Thomi and replaced him with his Igwamiti counterpart Joseph Gikuru. Thomi, who is also Githiga Ward member of County Assembly, termed the changes an illegality and will be seeking answers from the party headquarters.
Ninashukua nafasi kuwashukuru wajumbe wa Laikipia County Assembly. Ni kwa sababu gani? Ni kwa sababu wamenipea majukumu ya kuwaongoza kama kinara wao.
Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
And across borders, the U.S. President Joe Biden has said the conviction of a former police officer in the killing of George Floyd is a giant step forward in the march toward justice in America, but added that there is still more to be done. A U.S. jury found former police officer Derek Chauvin guilty of murder over the death of African-American George Floyd on a Minneapolis street last year. The police officer was filmed kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes during his arrest.
This widely watched footage of former police officer Derek Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes during his arrest last year sparked a worldwide protest against racism and excessive use of force by police. The officer was later arrested and has been found guilty of 3 charges: second-degree, third-degree murder and manslaughter.
Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m.
People gathered outside the court in Minneapolis erupted in cheers upon hearing that Derek Chauvin has been found guilty of all charges over Floyd's death. His family, while lauding the verdict, said the conviction was a turning point to U.S. history.
Everybody, London, Italy, they're all saying the same thing. We won't be able to breathe until you're able to breathe. Today, we are able to breathe again.
I'm grateful my brother's not here. I'm grateful and I'm proud of him. I will salute him at every day of my life. I will salute him. I'm gonna miss him, but now I know he's in history. What a day to be a Floyd, man.
United States President Joe Biden welcomed the verdict as a huge step towards justice, saying such a verdict was much too rare.
This can be a giant step forward in the march toward justice in America. Let's also be clear that such a verdict is also much too rare.
And the fact is, we still have work to do. We still must reform the system.
The former police officer has been placed in custody while his sentencing is likely to happen in 2 months. Chauvin is predicted to spend decades in jail. The celebrations coming amidst calls of calmness in Ohio State following the shooting of a 16-year-old black girl by a police officer while responding to an emergency call of an attempted stabbing. Columbus police have produced a bodycam footage which appears to show the girl attacking others with a knife before being shot. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
And on news making headlines in the business world, the establishment of long-awaited Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology is set to kick off later this year. This follows the signing of contracts between the Kenyan and Korean governments. Now, the research institution, which will be constructed at Konza Technopolis, will be completed in 24 months at a cost of 6.4 billion shillings.
Kenya has a massive skills gap, especially in several science and engineering-related fields. Due to small number of qualified Kenyans in the STEM field, most technical projects are landing in the hands of international contractors. The government hopes the establishment of Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology at Konza Technopolis will help create a reservoir of qualified IT workforce.
Engineers are really engineers.
not engineers who know the theories of engineering and they cannot practically practice engineering. We want that change to be felt in the way we do our things in this country. Anything science, technology, and innovation.
The Ministry of ICT and Education have partnered with the Korean government to bridge the country's technical constraints in engineering skills.
The element of young people is very important, and we want this center to be an opportunity for innovation, for employment creation, more especially for our young people.
The project, which will sit on a 6-acre piece of land, will provide specialized research and training in cutting-edge technology.
In the same area, in the neighborhood of this KAIST, Kenya, there will be the physical science laboratories using technology of the Republic of South Korea to put up these 10 science research laboratories so that scientists have an opportunity to do advanced scientific research.
We would like to transfer our advanced construction technology to the local people and labor.
The project, which will be constructed in 3 phases, will cost 6.4 billion shillings and will take 2 years to construct.
You will soon be required to have a valid COVID-19 vaccine passport to ease travel out of the country and when visiting select tourism facilities within the country. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala says the passport will be fully rolled out by the year 2022 and will add to the safeguard measures to allow the tourism industry safely reopen and operate optimally.
According to sector reports by the Ministry of Tourism, the hospitality industry has been severely impacted by the COVID-19 scourge, with the industry shedding more than 30% of its workforce. Further, businesses have been compelled to scale down their operations due to low or no business at all. The government has developed a tourism rescue plan to revive the battered industry.
We in the Ministry of Tourism are now consulting with the industry. We are working with McKinsey to develop what is the new vision for Kenya's tourism. And sometimes there are difficult decisions we have to make in transforming ourselves as a sector to survive all these shocks, and we move forward together.
Speaking during the launch of the tourism industry COVID-19 vaccination drive, players in the industry said the industry has too often bore the brunt of economic shocks in the country, hence the need for further drastic safety guards.
I think the reality is we are going to get a vaccination passport. That's the reality. Already we have seen IATA, European Union are working on such frameworks. It's like the former yellow fever vaccination card. So we will have a vaccination card for COVID. The vaccine passport will come, I think, in the 2022. Why is 2022? Is until we streamline the production lines of the vials and also the vaccination programs for the citizens.
Stakeholders say the vaccination drive is a move to help the industry safely reopen, with an initial vaccination of 5,000 for 5 most affected counties in the next 10 days, with a total of 50,000 vaccines in stock.
And we promise that this will continue smoothly and uninterrupted for the next 10 days, and thereafter, as will be guided by the Ministry of Tourism and also the Ministry of Health.
The hospitality industry has so far seen about 80% of earnings wiped out due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Besides having the normal documentation when traveling abroad, including passports and other essential documents, you may now be required to use a vaccination passport to show that you've been vaccinated from COVID-19. This is the reality facing many Kenyans going forward in the coming months. Alan Naoko, Channel 1 Business, Nairobi.
A major leadership crisis is rocking the dock workers' union, threatening to split the decade-old union. The bitter tussle pits the current leadership, led by long-serving Secretary General, and 13 aspirants who want to kick him out of the office. A meeting called today to chart the way forward for the May Union 20th elections turned chaotic, with each party accusing each other of planning to stall the elections.
The future of Dock Workers Union is hanging in the balance, with the 4,000-member strong union facing its worst leadership crisis yet. The union has become more influential with the expansion of the port of Mombasa, which has increased business and a number of workers. The union now controls billions of shillings in dock workers' contribution and assets. The wrangle, which has been going on for months, was sent today when a meeting called to discuss the May 20th election turned chaotic. The aspirants are accusing the Secretary General Simon Sang of colluding with Labour officials to rig the election.
Anybody can conclude that there is a scheme either to rig this election so that wale ambao wako baadhi yao waweze kubaki ofisini, ama wanataka iharibike ili watu wote wakose.
However, Sang has refuted the claims, saying the elections will be managed by independent Ministry of Labour officials.
Because of the delay in CBA, by 1 week, we might have to extend again by 1 week so that we all have equal footing. The cartels are there. They have actually sponsored about 3 candidates, but we are saying that the workers are aware, and nobody will be given an opportunity to be to head the workers' union if you are a sponsor.
According to the union's constitution, an election board comprising of 9 members who have no interest or to have been constituted by the officials before the proposed date of the election, but the aspirants say this was not the case.
Ukiangalia huko nyuma ni kama kuna mabonyenye fulani ambao anajaribu kutaka kufanya hii election isiwepo.
The aggrieved aspirants are calling for the immediate formation of the election board, whose members are part of the union, to manage the elections.
That board, which was headed by Oindo, is still in place. What should have been done was only to replace the members of the board, whom some of them were shown interest ya kuvai.
Tungependa wale waliokuwa wamesimamia uchaguzi mwaka ule mwingine, wao ndio waendelee na uchaguzi huu pia, kwa sababu ndio tamu yao itakuwa imefika mwisho.
Atahitaji meeting hapa kama yeye chair, alafu tena hayuko. Alikuwa na lengo gani? Ametusikitisha sana na ameturudisha nyuma.
Hatuwezi kufanya mkutano na yeye kwa sababu he's part and parcel of us. Yeye ni candidate kama sisi. Anastahili kukaa kando. Kama ni mikakati yoyote ya kura, tupange tukiwa na election board mpya.
Tunataka kumwambia Bwana Sang awe aheshimu maslahi ya wafanyikazi na aheshimu, kwa sababu we are family people, si kwa watu wa kubebwa hivi na kuchezewa kama watoto wadogo.
Tunaweza kuketi kama candidates sote na tukielewana kwamba hii board ikishaundwa, tukaelewana sote, tukaandika memorandum of agreement sote, tukasign na tukienda katika uchaguzi, bora kila mmoja ameridhika uchaguzi uwe kwa njia hii.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County for Business.
Coffee brokers have until July 1st to apply for licenses to be able to provide coffee brokerage services at the Coffee Exchange. Capital Markets Authority Chief Wycliffe Shamir says brokers who fail to have their licenses approved by the authority will be barred from trading at the exchange.
The new licenses for coffee brokers will pave way for the implementation of Capital Markets Coffee Exchange Regulations 2020. The rules are expected to bring back sanity to the coffee subsector, as well as guarantee speedy and transparent payment of proceeds to farmers through a direct settlement system. CMA Chief Executive Wycliffe Shamir also says the whistleblower draft regulations have been published with public participation currently ongoing. The regulations aim to promote ethical behaviors within the capital markets by incentivizing individuals to proactively report misconduct within the capital markets. Shamir further indicates that during the first quarter, market performance at the NSE showed considerable improvement on both equities and bonds. Market capitalization increased by 21%, 2.4 trillion shillings registered in Q1 2021 from 2.1 trillion shillings in Q1 2020. In the equities market, year-on-year equity turnover showed a 27.4% decrease from 43.7 billion shillings in Q1 2020 to 31.7 billion shillings in the quarter ending March 2021. The foreign investor net cash flow recorded a net outflow at the bourse at 976 million shillings, an improvement compared to 2.7 billion shillings net outflow for Q4 2020. Equity trading remains foreign-dominated with an average of 60.38%, accounting for foreign investors' participation in Q1 2021. The bond market turnover increased in Q1 2021 by 17.8%, with 199.4 billion shillings worth of bonds traded compared to 169.2 billion shillings traded in Q4 2020. With a bond turnover of 158 billion shillings recorded in the first quarter of 2020, this shows a 26.2% increase in bond turnover using year-on-year comparison. The authority is also reviewing the capital market master plan to align to the prevailing market conditions and be able to better reflect stakeholders' expectation.
And in the sports world, reigning Kenyan champions JSU will face powerhouse aspirants of Tunisia this Friday as the 2021 African Men's Volleyball Club Championship enters the quarterfinal stage in Tunisia. Now compatriots Kenya Port Authority will take on Zamalek of Egypt.
The paramilitary side lost the opening match to powerhouse Zamalek before humbling Nigeria Customs by 3-1 in their second group match. The win of Aspire of the Democratic Republic of Congo ensured their place at the last 8. Compatriots Kenya Ports Authority also advanced to the quarterfinals after humbling Rukinzo of Burundi by 3 straight sets in their final group encounter. The Dockers humbled APR of Rwanda in a 5-set thriller in their opening match before losing by 3 straight sets to host Esperance. In other quarter-final pairings, Swahili of Libya will face Uganda's Nemo Star, while Tunisia's Kelebia will be up against Port Douala of Cameroon. Karanja David for Channel 1 Sports.
Kenya Pipeline trounced ASEC Mimosa by 3 straight sets as the Africa Women's Volleyball Cup Championship served off in Tunisia. Pipeline won the first set 25-11 before bagging the second set by a similar margin. The Paul Gitao Chargers won the third set 25-11 to bag maximum points. The former national champions are drawn in Pool B alongside Carthage of Tunisia, National Alcohol of Ethiopia, Customs of Nigeria, ASEC Mimosa of Cote d'Ivoire and Asdon of Burkina Faso. Kenya Prison and Kenya Pipeline are Kenya's representatives at the Continental Showpiece. Morocco's Raja Casablanca maintained their 100% record in the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup after winning their 5th straight match by thrashing host Namungo 3-0 in Tanzania. Now, Casablanca had already qualified for the quarterfinals of the tournament before kickoff, having won all their 4 opening group matches, but were not ready to dent their winning record. Ilyas Haddad opened the scoring for Casablanca in the 8th minute before Fabrice Ngoma made it 6 minutes later. Zakaria Hapte added the score line just before the halftime break. Casablanca now led the table on 15 points, while their opponents Namungo sit bottom without a point. Pyramids netted an 80th minute goal to beat Nkana 1-0 and move second on this table on 9 points, with Nkana remaining third on 6 points. In other matches, Orlando Pirates drew 0-0 with Setif, while Kutan Sport lost 2-1 of Kabile. Other news, Tottenham's interim head coach Ryan Mason will take charge of the first game today against Southampton following the sacking of Jose Mourinho on Monday morning. Meanwhile, Chelsea shared a goalless draw with Brighton to climb into Champions League places on a night where future of European football captured the headlines.
The Chelsea vs Brighton fixture was almost a side note, with the news breaking before the kick-off that Chelsea were preparing to pull out of the European Super League at the same time as their fans play. Meanwhile, Tottenham's interim head coach Ryan Mason will take charge of his first game today against Southampton following the sacking of Jose Mourinho on Monday morning. Harry Kane is not expected to be fit as the club continues to assess his ankle injury ahead of the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City. Southampton forward Mike Obafemi isn't yet ready to make his comeback from a leg surgery, with Oriol Romeu and Will Smallbone sidelines for the remainder of the season. In another match, Manchester City will be hoping to bounce back to winning ways after a 1-0 loss to Chelsea, which saw them exit the FA Cup competition on Saturday. Manchester City will be without playmaker Kevin De Bruyne and their all-time goal scorer Sergio Aguero. Aston Villa winger Trezeguet requires knee surgery and he joins injured captain Jack Grealish on the sidelines. Morgan Sanson is also ruled out with a knee problem, while Wesley is not ready to make his comeback after more than 15 months out.
All 6 Premier League teams involved in the European Super League have formally withdrawn from the competition. Manchester City were the first English club to formally pull out after Chelsea had signalled their intent to do so by preparing documentation to withdraw. The other 4 sides, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and Tottenham, all followed suit. This came after protests from fans and other FIFA officials. However, the teams already in the Super League said that the league will go on even without the English club and won't be threatened by any withdrawal from any club.
The relation between the effort and the success, the effort and reward don't exist. So it's not a sport. So it's not a sport of the success is already guaranteed. It's not a sport and it doesn't matter if you lose. That's why I said many times, I want the best competition as strong as possible, so especially the Premier League, and it's not fair when one team fight, arrive at the top, and after cannot be qualified because the success is already guaranteed for just for few clubs.
Well, that is all we had for you tonight. Thank you for keeping it Channel 1 News Hour. Up next is Yusufara with the weather updates. My name is Jacky, Wambiru, sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. Have a good night.
Kericho is the coldest again tonight, with temperatures over there dropping to 12 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is expected in several parts of the country, with strong southeasterly winds of up to 25 knots blowing over the counties of Turkana and Marsabit. Welcome to your Channel 1 weather updates. My name is Yusufara. Now, tomorrow morning, Nairobi wakes up to partly cloudy conditions, light rains accompanied by sunny intervals. The same weather conditions expected in areas of Meru, Nyeri and its environs. In the coastal region, sunny intervals are rather expected. In areas of the northeastern region, chances of rain in the morning accompanied by sunny intervals. Areas of Lodwar, rains in the morning accompanied by sunny intervals. In the afternoon, showers accompanied by thunderstorms in areas of Kisumu, Kitale, Kericho, Eldoret, all the way to Lodwar and its environs. Sunny intervals in the coastal region with the exception of Lamu, where there are chances of showers accompanied by sunny intervals. The northeastern region, Mandera, rains accompanied by sunny intervals. The rest of the region will have sunny intervals. The Lake Turkana Basin all the way to areas bordering Kenya and South Sudan are expected to have sunny intervals. As far as the temperatures are concerned, highs of 35, lows of 25 in Mandera, Garissa highs of 37, lows of 24, the capital city Nairobi highs of 26 and lows of 15. That's your local weather forecast. The international weather forecast is coming up in a bit. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, only on Channel 1. Until then, to have yourselves a blessed night.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725-923-550 Nairobi branch, 0728-087-689 Eldoret branch, 0722-227428 Thika branch, 0725-000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET-approved institution. On the next episode, juhudi za Rais Uhuru Kenyatta za kujenga vituo maalum vya mpakani zimesaidia Kenya kupata mapato zaidi na kubuni nafasi za kazi kwa Wakenya. Wiki hii kwenye project 254,
kabla once the border post ije, ulikuwa unapata tunachukua muda mrefu sana kufanyiwa verification ya makaratasi yetu.
Kuwa na hii border post hapa, kuna vile inatusaidia wateja, kuna vile movement ya wateja iko, na unakuja unapata biashara, tunaweza tukauza.
SPT imesaidia sana kwa sababu kitambo ilikuwa inachukua muda mtu apitishe, mtu ana kari.
Welcome, dear viewer. It's a great privilege to bring to you the Word of God this morning. My name is Pastor Eric Lumosi. I serve with the BFM Church Christ Encounter in Kabiria, Dagoretti, under my Bishop Moses Wangila. I want to speak to us this day on a message titled, Be Fruitful. Actually, being fruitful is one of the very first things that God has prioritized. When we meet God, the very first time in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, right from the first verse, we find a God that is a doer, a God that is a worker, a God that is a producer. And soon he begins to produce things, he begins to make things. The whole story of the creation we are aware. And he goes ahead to create man. And when he has created man, the Bible says that he creates him in his own image. In the image of God is man created, both male and female. And as the word of God so says in the book of that Genesis chapter number 1 and verses 27, the Bible says, so God created man in his own image, male and female. Then God said to them, be fruitful and multiply. Now, one thing that comes up here is that once you have been made in the image of God, you are supposed to be like him. Look at it this way. When you are in front of a mirror, there is an image inside that mirror. Your image, you are seeing yourself. And whatever you do will also be replicated by the image. If you rise up your hand slowly, the image will rise up its hand slowly. When you do it very fast, whatever you do, it will also do. This means that after we are created in the image of God, we